So Derek Chauvin almost got deleted at an Arizona federal penitentiary. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Derek Chauvin, the officer who was convicted in the death of George Floyd that happened back in May of 2020 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He has been assaulted at a federal penitentiary in Arizona, and he almost lost his life from what I'm able to read. Now, he will be okay. He'll be able to recover and make a full recovery. I don't believe he's permanently injured or anything like that, but it could have been a lot worse. Now, before we get into the news clip, let's just start here. I don't think he should be in the penitentiary. I think that what happened to George Floyd is a result of the drugs that George Floyd was taking and not because of this infamous picture right here, the so-called knee on the neck. You had over 100,000 people die in this country as a result of the opioid crisis. I don't think George Floyd was any different, but because of the circumstances, you got election year and Black Lives Matter in the background already, and videotape and social media, it all just came to a head. And unfortunately, Derek Chauvin was the proverbial sacrificial lamb, in my humble opinion. Now, before I go any further, let's get into the news clip. If you want to see this clip in full, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
We begin with breaking news. Derek Chauvin, the man convicted in the death of George Floyd, has been stabbed at the Federal Correctional Institution here in Tucson. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Mooney. Monica Garcia has the night off. We have team coverage of the attack. News 4 Tucson's Gabrielle Parrish is live from Banner UMC, where we believe Chauvin is being treated. But first,
now let's pause for a minute before they even get into it. I have a bunch of questions, but one main question: where is Chauvin being housed? Is he behind the wall by himself in the cell? Is he in a dorm type area with a lot of different people in the open dorm? Does he have a cellie? What's going on with his housing situation? Where did he get stabbed? When did he get stabbed? And when I say where, I don't really mean where on his body. I mean, that'd be good to know as well, but where specifically? Was he in the middle of eating and whatever they may call the chow hall, whatever that is? Where exactly did this whole thing play out? Let's keep on going.
First, let's get to Cristiana Ramos, who joins us live from the federal prison on the southeast side of Tucson with more on what we have learned so far. Cristiana.
This is the Federal Correctional Institution where sources say former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, was stabbed by another inmate earlier this afternoon. Now, very little details about the attack at this time. The Bureau of Prisons confirmed that an incarcerated person was assaulted at FCI Tucson at around 12:30 p.m. today. In a statement, the agency says responding employees contained the incident and performed, quote, life-saving measures before the unnamed inmate was taken to a hospital for further treatment and evaluation. No employees were injured and the FBI was notified. We're told visiting at the facility has been suspended. Now, we did reach out to Chauvin's attorney's office. They would not comment at this time, but we're still following this story very closely, bringing you team coverage tonight. Gabrielle Parrish is live from a local hospital we believe Chauvin is being treated at. Gabrielle.
Now let's pause right here. Obviously, Derek Chauvin is going to be a high target because of who he is, all the news. I mean, you're talking about an entire nation that was on fire. All the Black Lives Matter, the Summer of Love, all of that happened because of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, that video. So is there going to be anything done to protect him specifically, or you just out there? All right, you got convicted, you did it, so now you're just out here. You might have a cellie, you might be in the open dorm, you might be in a dangerous situation with a lot of hardened inmates, and you were a cop. It's all bad. It's all bad. Now, I'm not trying to say that police officers never do anything wrong, because sometimes they do. You know who I think should be in the penitentiary is that guy that took the life of the man in South Carolina. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I can't think of the name right now. Walter or something like that. I know what I'm talking about, where he was in the police car and then the officer got out and then the guy tried to escape and then the officer had shot him and then tried to cover it up. That guy needs to be in the penitentiary. But Derek Chauvin, I don't think so.
That's right, Cristiano. We saw 3 law enforcement officers here at Banner University Hospital. We're still working to confirm if Chauvin is being treated for a stabbing wound in the hospital behind me and what his current health condition is. Around 6 p.m., we saw 3 officers walk into their car in that parking lot over there. We saw them wearing bulletproof vests. 2 of them had on all black. Another was wearing green. We also watched them from a distance where we saw them get into a white Volkswagen and drive off from the hospital parking lot around 6:30 tonight. Keep in mind, Banner University Hospital is the #1 trauma center here in southern Arizona. Also, we are still working to confirm if Chauvin is being treated for that stabbing wound at Banner University Hospital. News 4 Tucson will continue to keep you updated with the latest information. Back to you, Sean.
All right, thank you, Gabrielle. All this comes after the Supreme Court struck down a petition from the former Minneapolis police officer. This Monday, Derek Chauvin's lawyers appealed on the basis that Chauvin did not receive a fair trial. They claim jurors in his case had a vested interest against acquitting him out of fear of instigating more violence across the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody knew that. Like, it was like people were waiting for the results. And everybody knew if the results didn't go the way that people wanted them to go, there was going to be a lot more riots and violence. So if you are a jury member, that's a lot of pressure on your back. That's a lot of pressure. And then not only could there be more violence, as in just riots, random destruction, looting Foot Lockers and Best Buys and Walmarts and Targets, that could happen. But also, how about the safety of the individual jurors themselves? Because I think some of that got leaked. Some of them might have got doxxed. So now it's not just a matter of, okay, you want to do things that it's going to protect the nation. You want to do things that are going to protect yourself. You're not trying to have a bunch of guys roll up in your house because you didn't vote the correct way in the jury pool to get Derek Chauvin in the penitentiary. You don't want to have that happen to you. So, yeah, there was a lot of pressure on the jurors. So that was a good attempt, but I don't think anybody wants to touch that case with a 10-foot pole, and it's really unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate.
But on Monday, the U.S. Supreme Court rejected Chauvin's appeal without comment or a recorded vote. And you may remember that Derek Chauvin was convicted in the death of George Floyd in June of 2021. His conviction reverberated across the country and the world, sparking massive protests. Here are some key events that led up to his sentencing. May 25th, 2020, George Floyd dies in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after Derek Chauvin placed a knee on Floyd's neck for at least 8 minutes as a group of officers attempted to take Floyd into custody. May 29th, 2020, Derek Chauvin is charged with second and third degree murder as well as manslaughter. June 9th, 2020, George Floyd was buried. June 25th, 2021, a judge sentenced Chauvin to 20.
And that funeral was pretty gaudy. If I remember correctly, that funeral was a mess. This timeline seems to be really close together. But back then, it was so much happening every day. It made things seem like they were further apart. Okay, I think the charge came during a lot of the riots and protesting, if I recall correctly.
22 and a half years in prison. On August 24th, 2022, Chauvin was moved to the Federal Correctional Institution in Tucson after a request that he be moved to a minimum security prison. And be sure to download our...
Wow, so, I mean, if you're getting hit up in the minimum security, imagine what was potentially happening at a max or wherever he was before. I mean, so that's what's going on. Again, Derek Chauvin, the officer who was convicted in the death of George Floyd, he was sentenced to 22 years in the federal penitentiary, and he was assaulted there, said he got stabbed. He was treated for life, threatening wounds, but he'll be all right. He'll be able to make it. Now, hopefully he doesn't get hit up again, because that'll pretty much be that. I think you might be able to see one day where he gets pardoned, or where he is able to have his conviction overturned. Because really, from what I'm able to gather, the information that I have, what happened to George Floyd was a result of the drugs. The tox report came back with enough drugs to kill a man. So, I mean, what more can be done? Again, it's unfortunate that he died. May he rest in peace. But you had 100,000 deaths that were the exact same way as a result of drug overdoses. Fentanyl, all these opiates are destroying the nation. It's just as simple as that. We could blame it on the knee on the neck or whatever, but is that really what happened? I don't think so. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on Derek Chauvin being attacked in the penitentiary? It's a good thing, bad thing, unfortunate, fortunate, whatever your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. Derek Chauvin should be in the penitentiary. Some officers need to be there because people aren't perfect. You have bad people all over the place. It doesn't matter what they do. They could be a police officer. They could be a priest. They could be a televangelist. They could be somebody that works on the railroad. It doesn't really matter what someone does for a living as an occupation. You have sometimes bad people. And when bad people do bad things, they should be punished accordingly. Sometimes there is a miscarriage of justice, and this could happen to an officer, a regular normie. You got guys being exonerated from 30 years ago. Guys get hit up on false allegations saying, oh, this person did something to me in college, and then they go to jail for 30 years, and then they get off. So it's like, you know, these things do happen, and it's not just because of Chauvin being an officer. It's because of the evidence that I see. That's why I think that it's a miscarriage of justice. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.